everything that's communally based. And then it's basically distributed based on creating an equal allocation of those resources. And the way that you do that is by creating a massive taxation that creates the affordability, and what would go into the price efficiency mechanism once again. Even though it's not capitalism, it's still based on capital. That's it. So it's a forced tyrannical concept based on forcing an equalized society without class. Okay? Resource-based economy is a purely zero subjective political influence. Okay? So there is no politics involved. It's simply systematic deduction. You don't have to vote on things when it's based on logical resource management. If you have something available, it just gets done for the community. That's it. This does not refer to in your home if you want to go get something or if you want access to something. That's something totally different. This is a society-based holistic system. Just like basically you see this here. You see this today in corporations where everything is very structured. Everything is, at least dealing with data calculations. You can't run a business without actually structuring it fundamentally, and that's what this is about. So systematic emergence of holistic ideas. So basically, you calculate what is available, what is needed by the society, and what's wanted by the society, and based on the availability of the technology, resources, and sustainability that's perpetuated by the system, you're able to have an access abundance. Emergent access of abundance via intelligent resource management, no need for money. Essentially, the more efficiently we manage our resources, on the back end you're going to have a massive abundance because you allow technology to evolve at the rate it can. You allow collaboration between doctors, scientists, physicists, computer scientists, whatever the case may be. Okay, all types of engineers. It becomes a collaborative. It becomes a collaborative society where everybody participates collaboratively to create an even better society based on access abundance. So when you have things done so efficiently that everything is accessible to everybody else, you don't have any more class division. You don't have any more state. You don't have a need for money anymore because it's so efficient that there's no need for it. There's no need for trade because you have access to everything. So this is about creating an access abundance through a sustainable approach to harnessing and efficiently allocating our resources to benefit the earth and ourselves, and we inherit the access abundance because we're participants in the globe. Emergent sustainability using systems approach. It's all kind of comes to the same thing. If we have resources, then we use those resources, and it's a systematic deduction. So if you need to build a bridge, you don't ask how much it's going to cost. You determine, do we have the technology to do it? Yes. Do we have the resources to do it? Yes. Is it going to benefit the society as a whole? Yes. Then do it. Okay. If I don't know if you remember this correctly, but or if you remember this period, in Wisconsin or Minnesota, one of those two states, there was a bridge that collapsed, and because the bridge collapsed, because there were so many people killed on that bridge collapse, the state had to build another bridge. They had been putting off this bridge for so long that it had become so rickety that it crumbled and people died. And then the state decided to go ahead and build a bridge, a new state-of-the-art bridge that would last 100 years with the newest technology possible. Now, this only happened because the bridge collapsed. The affordability factor at that point did not matter. They had the resources to build it. They had the ability to build it. They had the technology to build the best bridge for this time, and they did that. That's if you have the resources, just do it. Why do we have to sacrifice based on money that simply moves around? What does money do? It moves around and creates more debt, because eventually money ends up in a bank, which is able to create more debt for loans, and it just constantly moves around. That's why the debt continuously escalates. That's why money always becomes a little bit more scarce perceivably, because it's constantly being moved around. Money doesn't get absorbed. Wood, bowls, cars, these things actually get used. Okay? Money moves around, resources get used. This is a true resource-based economy, not one based on a false brokerage of trade. And that's what money is. And it does nothing except for create more debt and restriction. So, there we have it. Marxism is a forced, tyrannical concept to create a forced equilibrium within a society based on heavy taxation, still based on money. It does not have a global, holistic approach to it for sustainability. This is simply a power paradigm shift from one set of people to another using enforcement. Resource-based economy is emergent. There has to be a whole new culture. There's got to be a whole new mindset in order for this to work. So an emergent system based on intelligent resourcing or intelligently managing resources that are available, abundant, and just needs to be harnessed while unrestricting technology and collaboration. Imagine a world where we collaborate. I don't think any of us can actually imagine that, which is why it creates such a disconnect when we can't even comprehend something. The basic idea here is that it's going to take time, but it is possible, and at some point in time, just like Peter Joseph says, we will end up in a resource-based economy because the systems before it have all collapsed. This one is in the midst of collapsing, and at some point in time, we're going to be put into a choice whether or not to adapt the tenets of harnessing and maximizing resources efficiently or destroying ourselves. But again, this is about the differentiation between Marxism and our resource-based economy. Obviously here, these are two very different concepts. One's emergent, one's forced. I mean, that's one very basic, simple concept. The only correlation here is that it's in the interest, conceptually, to benefit the community. That's it. But that's every single concept out there. Capitalism, anarcho-capitalism, socialism, everything is based on trying to benefit the community. These are two very different pathways to getting there. So Marxism is monopoly by state through taxation to eliminate division of classes. Period. Monetarily driven power shift. That's all it is. It still functions on money. It still functions on a perceivable resource. It still functions on people dictating the way things go. It's still based on one set of people versus another set of people, and a forced equilibrium of allocation of resources. Okay, based on what can be afforded. Period. That's it. Resource-based economy eliminates the need for money through efficient, intelligent resource management. Excess abundance emerges. Emergence is much more powerful than enforcement. We know this because how many wars have been caused because we want to force people to do things. This is not an enforcement of something. This is an allowance to emerge. That's all it is. If you allow the people to do what they're capable of doing, which is produce and collaborate and maximize technology and an exponential evolution through intellect, then we end up in a society where we have so much available to us that there's never the term scarcity gets lost. So again, resource-based economy, it's an emergent concept. Marxism was an enforced concept. Marxism takes the shift of power from one set of people to another set of people in an attempt to enforce equal allocation of perceivable resources. Resource-based economy is an emergent concept that provides a systematic way of harnessing efficiently and creating a sustainable environment for everybody on the earth, and then also creating an access abundance on the back end for all the people to inherit. That's it. These are entirely different approaches to a socio-economic change. And the resource-based economy based on these concepts, obviously, Marxism with robots, are you kidding me? Not even by any standard, no way. I didn't even talk about computers here, I didn't talk about robots. This is a concept. The proletariat does not exist. The proletariat being a robot, there's no power in the robot. They are simply tools to be used for effective and systematic change. So basically the concept here is that the concept of trying to align Marxism with robots to a resource-based economy is a ridiculous notion, and I hope that we all can see this now. There is no proletariat. The robots are tools. People are not tools. The proletariat are not tools. The computers do not dictate anything. We basically feed the information into the computers. They help us to analyze information so we can make the appropriate, take the appropriate paths. That's it. So Marxism with robots, not even close. And hopefully this will put an end to the Marxism resource-based economy alignment. And if it doesn't, then I don't know what else to say. Hopefully, for all the zeitgeisters out there, you'll be able to use this as a tool to contradict the Marxism platitudes out there. And if there's any contention to any of these ideas, please provide it in a substantive way. Don't just cast ridiculous, slanderous terms like "you're stupid" or just something completely shallow and irrelevant. If you have something to say, then make it substantive. Otherwise, let's move on to the next topic, which is way more important than this alignment. So hopefully with this distinction, it'll help everybody kind of clarify and remove the entire irrelevancies of this that Peter Joseph's already talked about, and we can move on to the next topic of debate. The more garbage we remove, the more relevant issues we can approach. So, in any case, this is a Zeitgeist Movement student. Please provide any feedback based on the presentation. I know this one's rough, but I promise they'll get better as long as I get some feedback. So, thank you all. We're all in this together, and have a great night.